Yes, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us from. I want to thank you. My name is David Rugura, and you're live on Campfire television. We are here for Uganda'S Crossroads. Every week we come here, we discuss different topics, different issues that are affecting Ugandans back in Uganda, and of course, all over the world, especially us in the diaspora. But most importantly, what we look into is what they talk about, what they think, and where, especially the government and those in opposition, see our country going. So this weekend, we still have the same discussions. Now, Uganda's politics is almost the same. Today, yesterday, and probably one may say forever, but others are saying no, it's not going to be forever. Remember the feud between President Museveni and Honorable Bobiwine or Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi. One saying, you know, good for our country, one says you are the cause of the problems. These are some of the things we're going to be discussing on today. You also remember that the country is now in a zigzag situation. The economy is going down. There is a lot of injustices and insecurity in the country. You've heard what Dr. Besigye said recently, and of course other opposition leaders. The contradictions within the political sphere of the country. These are some of the things that we always come here every Saturday to discuss. And I'm glad that Sarah Joy Bakanas is in the house. Richard Imyebe is in the house. And you are already watching us live from wherever you are. Please let us know and send in your comments, your questions. Today I'm going to do as much as I can to look through some of the comments that come here. I've been given the permission by my producers that yes, you can look through some of the comments and read some of them. So I want to thank you so much for watching Uganda'S Crossroads, for watching Campfire TV. Let me go and meet these guys. Guys, the week was very nice, I should say. My side. Of course, there is a lot that is going on in Uganda. I'm not going to talk about the issues of Eddie Kenzo and Rema. Everybody knows and everybody has commented, so that's none of our business politically. Let's focus on. Let's focus
who says they're none of our business politically? You've heard of the mafias. Mafias are involved in this, political mafias, so it's our business. All
right. So, by the way, guys, Sarah, let me start with you straight away. How was your week?
An amazing week.
An amazing week, Richard.
Yes, so.
So, meaning 50-50, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, my side, my week was good. I mean, I always try to be nice, and it's always about money and all that stuff. So, things were really nice. But let's start straight away from the key issues that are going on in the country. President Museveni recently had an interview with Kasuja. And the president clearly said that some of the people who are letting our country down are these key leaders that you guys support, especially in the opposition, and he was so clear. Bobiwine is an enemy of progress. He looked at how the economy is flourishing and how Bobiwine is using the international community to generate an economic war against the so-called, according to the president, very wonderful country that is progressing economically, socially, and all that. So guys, I wanted us to start from there before I bring in what Honorable Bobiwine said. But let me start with Sarah. Today, I don't know what I ate last night, but today I've been humble that I've started with a woman straight away. So Sarah, I want to start with you. What did you think?
Basically, you know, I'd not even paid attention to that interview, but quite a number of people shared it, so it caught my eye, and I'm like, maybe I need to look it up and see what he had to say, because he says a lot of nonsense, so that's why I don't pay so much attention on it. And then when I heard what he said, it is so absurd. This is a typical sign of leaders deflecting, because I don't know why President Museveni thinks because he has been in power for 34 years. Bobiwine has just been on the political scene for only 2 years. So you're telling me that Bobiwine has stopped development for only 2 years? Because a country does not develop for just 1-2 years. This is economic growth takes a while. If you look at countries like Dubai, Uganda used to give aid to Dubai in 1979. Look at where Dubai is right now. Dubai was not built overnight. It has taken a number of years and time for Dubai to be where it is. So for Museveni to even insinuate that Bobiwine, for the last 2 years he has been on the political scene, that he has caused investors not to invest in Uganda, that he's the reason for the retardation of economic growth, then Museveni has a problem. But it comes with age. It comes with so many things. It could have been, he could be stressed. It could be, you know, so many things. He needs to be checked maybe for a little bit of dementia. He needs to be checked for a number of things. It comes with age. But it's really confusing And what really caught my eye is that when he went on with the interview, when he was asked about Bobiwine shows, he clearly said, oh, if he's stopping investors, why should we allow him to put up shows? But even for the simple use of common sense, money, we've seen so many investments that have been done in Uganda, or investors coming into the country, and money disappears in a few hands of individuals. Look at the amount of money. If really Museveni cared about investment and making Uganda better, look at the amount of money that disappeared with the building, the insinuated building of Lovoa Hospital. That money was coming from the hands of taxpayers' money, of which money was paid to an anonymous individual. And right now you hear Madam Kadaga saying they're going to investigate. What are you investigating? This is money that came from taxpayers' money. If they wanted really to develop the economy, they would have used that money than giving it to a mysterious individual. So he's talking about why should we allow Bobiwine to have his shows when he's stopping investors from coming in. Let's look at, you've stopped over 100 and something shows of Bobiwine. But how many normal Ugandans benefit from these shows? You have people who come in selling in muchomo, you have women selling in water, you have people selling in any simple edibles. People come in selling a number of things and they make money instantly. The border riders, that's when they make money because they're ferrying people to the show. So many Ugandans, let's say maybe 500 and so, make money instantly. It goes to their pockets, minus anyone taking a coin or the other in their pockets. If he has stopped over 100 shows, how many Ugandans has he stopped from earning within home? Because when you look at money that comes in from investors, it is a few people, it is Museveni and his immediate family that are stealing his money. So in other words, if he thinks he's frustrating Bobiwine, then he's also frustrating millions and millions of Ugandans, or thousands of Ugandans who are benefiting from these shows. Because if he thinks, and again at the same time, Bobiwine is a taxpayer. You think you're frustrating Bobiwine from performing, but again, you're affecting the taxes that he would have paid to Uganda Revenue Authority.
Right,
so at the end of the day, it is really disturbing to see our leaders, because they say, intelligence comes with age, but our president seemed to be, I think he has lost. He's no longer intelligent at all, because his arguments really don't hold water at all.
All right, his arguments. Richard, I want to bring you in. The president was very clear, and you guys, especially, you have been advocating for international community stepping into our country and putting sanctions and all that, and the president looks at it as a negative impact towards the future of Uganda. Do you make sense of that?
Yes, let me first make a statement in Uganda. President Player Gamba, katuka ku bukulembeze kyemwayagaliza embazi kibuyaga asudde. Remember that? I don't think
I've read about it.
So what we expected the wind to come in and blow and so aside, now the wind has. So this is what is happening. Museveni alowooza, he thought it was invisible. That's why we are here, that he's going this time. If you heard that statement very well, he said now the blame is on Honorable Chagwen. First of all, let me tell you the background of Museveni and this Otafili. The communists, the socialists and everything, they always have a scapegoat. When we were in the bush, he was saying the problem was Obote. When he was in the Tanzania, he said the scapegoat was Amin. They always have someone to blame. That's how they do it.
Isn't that creativity political?
No. That's their way of their way of lying or maneuvering in a situation. They always have a scapegoat so that they can satisfy the population who doesn't understand. Let's first analyze this thing. Museveni, the reason why the country is like this is two things: his economic and political policies. He himself and the NRM or the NRA and whatever the NRC. Let's first begin with the Great Leap Forward of Chairman Mao. The Great Leap Forward was a program that Chairman Mao instituted in China that was going to transform the lives and the social and economic lives of the people of China. It was a policy of the Chinese people, like Museveni's policy. What happened in China? How many millions of people died poorly, medically, and that were killed without following Chairman Mao's policy? At the end of the day, Mao Zedong had to abandon his what? His program. For 33 years, Museveni, he himself, with his program in Uganda, has been lying Ugandan that now, Bondabagagawale, Entandikwa, all these things, the country has refused to take off from the root. Now he's blaming the Americans because his problem always has been American. I'm going to give you a simple example. I was reading the newspaper. It failed to open because I don't think I have internet here. Sese Island. There are people that were complaining on the island of Buyaga, somewhere there. I'll show it to you next week, printed. What happened there? The army of Uganda, because he has too much army, he has militarized, like Honorable Chagwan said, he has militarized the country everywhere. The army is in charge of every institution of the country so that he remains in power. He can't get money to pay them. In Sese Island, where people run for rescue, at the poorest or at the needed time of their life, they risk and go to the island. The army is destroying the island, the whereabout, the canoes, the makeshift houses. They are burning them to the ground. Where people, an ordinary person who doesn't know anything about politics is staying in Sese. Now you are blaming that to Chagwan, who has just come on the scene, and the Americans are not coming in to invest in the country. That's the first thing. The second thing for what we have been saying all along is that Chagwan has the key for this country. How? Because he's the friend of the West, the Western side of democracy, which is America. If Chagwan can be a scapegoat for not bringing America and deterring Americans to come invest in a country, then when he takes on power, he'll bring them in America. We have always been talking about the great transformation that People Power is going to use in Uganda. How China transformed its economy using the students that were brought in America, and the investment that came in from America to China. Yes, if Bobiwine can stop the American, that means he will bring them for the great transformation. The second point, before I finish, this is so important. How are we going, we as People Power, how are we going to transform the economy of Uganda from where it is? First of all, that we shall change the political and economic policies of Museveni. Total. Wipe out his policies. So, self-government, which is federalism, and capitalism. The second thing is this. The American we shall attract, because the reason why the Americans are not investing in Uganda is because of the political instability and the military instability in Uganda. The third thing, there's what they call the Great Marshall Plan. America always uses that plan where you go to Congress and you borrow money to come. The country itself borrows money from Congress to go and, like it was done in all the countries in Japan, in West Germany.
Now let me ask you a question before you finish up. How are you going to transform the country when you're already breaking the laws? The military and the government already gazetted the rates, and you guys are still putting them on. Aren't you breaking the law?
No. That's the law of the bush. The law that is made to suppress people for advocating for their democracy. That's all these constitutions that Museveni has put in place. That's why I told you that it's the economic and political policies through his constitution. The constitution has to be changed, and new laws that favor the country growth and stability and peace are going to be put in place, made by the Ugandans to develop and give them freedom, not to suppress them. Laws are not made by the people. If you look at American democracy, you cannot make a law in this country that suppress the people. Even building a Dunkin' Donut on the street there, you have to ask the neighborhood. You cannot just come up in the morning that the minister, who makes the laws in Uganda, a minister that will be fired tomorrow in the cabinet makes a law in Uganda.
Right.
In America, the laws are made by the people.
Let me read the reason I asked you that question, and I think Sarah, you're going to answer this. Let me read a statement, a tweet from Robert Chagulanyi, the Honorable, when he was responding to President Museveni. He said, shamelessly, Mr. Museveni brands me enemy of Uganda's progress. Mr. President, your first name is corruption. Second, liar. Third, despot. You have rained down our country, killed our people, destroyed institutions, and ruled us through the barrel of the gun. You are the enemy of Uganda. Now, first of all, let me start with that. Isn't this disrespecting the biggest office of the country by saying that you are corrupt, you are directly?
In fact, the words Bobiwine forgot to put on to put in his tweet, he should have added. He would have said, "Mr. President, you love nigga semiekozo." Those words also would have been added onto that tweet because everything he said describes him. If you say disrespecting the office of the presidency, President Museveni has disrespected Ugandans because he wouldn't. He's not a president governing or ruling animals or whatever form of anything you can use. He's governing Uganda. He has disrespected Ugandans for the last 33 plus years he has been in power. He has made Ugandans beggars in their own country. He has made Ugandans jobless, even with all when they're educated. You have, you have so many young men and women graduate from university, they're jobless. He has made Ugandans have no medicine in hospitals. He's responsible for that. He's the president of the country. Ugandans go without medication. There's poor service delivery. There's nepotism in Uganda. There's corruption. He, basically whatever Bobiwine encompasses who President Museveni is, because if you're talking about his regime, we are not going to exonerate him and say, oh, he did not do that. He did not do that. He is responsible. What happens when we have these ministers or individuals still? What does he do? You've seen him recycling corrupt officers. He takes them from one office. Remember when he recycled when Museveni was in the Ministry of Health, he made him, take a seat for a few years and then he brought him back. So if you yourself, you keep on recycling these leaders who are corrupt, then why do you say Bobiwine is disrespecting the office of the president? How many Ugandans have been, we have up to this time, we've never had an inquiry of how Yasin Kauma was killed. He was killed by SPS. And they've never even come out to say even sorry to his family. They've never even come out to give an explanation of how he was killed. So many Ugandans have lost their lives in the hands of the police, in the hands of the army. And no, we've never gotten an apology. So I would, in fact, if he had added on, Mr. President, you'll have nigga semieko, so it would have been nice. It would have carried the day. Because everything he said describes President Museveni. And for President Museveni to wake up and give an excuse and use Bobiwine as an excuse for the 34 failed years of his presidency, it is so bad. Bobiwine has been here for only 2 years. So you cannot blame someone, because even if for example, there are plants that take more than 2 years to grow, you cannot blame him. Are you going to blame Besigye as well because he has been carrying the mantle for the last 20 years? Are you going to blame also the other opposition leaders for you to come up and start blaming Bobiwine just because Bobiwine may be? And I think, first of all, as President Museveni is really scared of Bobiwine because he's challenged. When he was when Besigye was standing against Museveni, they are almost in the same age brackets. So they want, maybe sometimes they would speak and they're not speaking to the young generation of many Ugandans. But what's happening with Bobiwine is speaking to 75% of the population who understand the same language, who have seen Bobiwine grow up, who have seen him from Kamocha eating chikomando, who have seen him, wear one trouser the whole week. Those Ugandans are there and there are many. They can witness that this is a guy we've seen and is one of us. He understands our problem. Because the problems of Uganda are not the problems of yesterday. Museveni keeps, sometimes when he's asked hard questions and doesn't want to answer, he will take us back to when they were in the bush. He will take us back to the previous leaders. 75% of Ugandans have not seen the previous leaders. All we know about Amin, I read about Amin when I was doing political education. That's when I came closer to even understanding what Amin did, what he was about, and all that. And even watching, that movie they did about Amin, it gave me a proper insight about who Amin was. So for him to use excuses or to use Bobiwine as a scapegoat, and that's why, many Ugandans have not received it with light, they've not taken it lightly. They've gone back to the president and they're giving out their opinion, because it's a total joke. That was an interview with BBC Africa. He would have given a better interview than zeroing it down to Bobiwine. But again, for us as people who support Bobiwine, it gives us one thing. Bobiwine is doing a good job. He needs to keep shaking that mango tree. And I put a post on the mango tree. There's a python on the mango tree that is President Museveni. We need to keep shaking the mango tree. That snake is going to fall down and Ugandans are waiting. Ugandans are waiting with sticks to kill that snake because it has made us miserable for the last 34 years.
All right, so Richard, I want to bring you on from where Sarah stopped. The narrative that Bobiwine attacks the president, where does it leave Bobiwine himself as a candidate who is coming in 2021?
No, let me tell you, this is not a joke. Even me here, I'm attacking Mr. President Museveni every day, even on my social media, every day. You cannot take 42 million people, 42 million people, black people. We are a laughing stock in the world. I was always telling people of everything that Museveni has been saying that is wrong, that Uganda, like a country like Uganda cannot have a political system that is different from his, that the federalism cannot work. I'm looking at another black country. Botswana is a working example of a successful black community in Africa. People are laughing at us because of people like Museveni, all the guys who think that Marxism, communism, and socialism can transform a country on his ideology. He's trying to practice something that is not working on the lives of 42 million people. Not 1 million, not 2 million. 42 million. Let him give us a chance. Let him give people power a chance. Uganda will be a super good country in 10 years with the great transformation that we are talking about. The education sector, the investment, not the investment of selling our country to the Chinese. They are bringing Chinese and giving them free land. Take. When other people, the Ugandans, are being overtaxed, overfined. A Ugandan, because of his policy, socialism, no Ugandans is allowed to make money in Uganda. Right. But you bring in Chinese, you bring in Indians and say, oh, to make a factory there so that people can go on in the morning and you create them a job. How can he, someone who came from Rwanda with his mother as a young child, Mukazuguzugu of Rwanda, I don't hate Rwanda people, I love them. You cannot come from another country. Then you come to Uganda to start doing what you are doing here. In our country, look at the roads. Look at when it rains in Uganda.
Right.
You mentioned something about the barrette before we went on to the statement where you mentioned and said that maybe Bobiwine, where you insinuated or where you gave your opinion or thought Bobiwine had disrespected the president. But when we talk of, we've talked about why do people still wear barrettes and all that. If I'm right, as UPDF does not own the barrette. Because if it owns the barrette, they would have trademarked it. It would have been then barrette ceased to be used anywhere in the world because it's an entity of UPDF. I think what UPDF targeted was the coat of arms. If you're wearing a barrette with the coat of arms, then you're infringing on the product of the UPDF. A barrette with a badge of people power is not a product of UPDF.
Yeah, because today we had that Jerry Senyonyi was almost arrested
by the UPDF,
by the UPDF for one, disrespecting the law because the barrettes were gazetted and other maybe statements he made. So
no, but you see what it happened to that Makerere, and kudos to the students of Makerere University who really came in and fought and stopped the UPDF, the soldiers, from taking away Joel. But again, I will say again, the barrette does not belong. It is not a product. It is not a brand of the UPDF. They do not own the barrette. What they did target, they targeted a barrette with a coat of arms, because the coat of arms is a symbol used by the UPDF. So you cannot tell me if they're saying, because if you say the barrette is your product, then that means you're going to stop anyone in the world from using the barrette because it's trademarked. It's your product. You started, you created. They found the barrette. It is being used all over the world. Anywhere anyone has barrette, anywhere anyone can wear barrette, whether with the logo or not. But Senyonyi, he was not wearing a barrette with the coat of arms. He was wearing a barrette with the symbol of people power, our power. So I do not know. But you see, again, it comes down to the biggest, we have laws and you expect the police and the army to keep law and order, but they keep breaking the laws, not once, not twice. So we are living in a country where even police itself that is supposed to keep law and order are unruly, they are unmanned, they don't know what to do, they're just confused. They're given orders by understanding the law. Because even you've had also lawyers have come out and spoken on this. They said, the UPDF does not own the barrette. They own the coats of arms. So anyone out there, if you're going to wear the beret, please avoid the one with the coats of arms. The beret you can use is one with the people power symbol, because that one does, unless UPDF goes ahead and gets the beret with the people power symbol, then that becomes their property as well. But without that, I saw in the papers, it was very clear, whatever they Zagated had the coats of arms, they didn't have people power. So they need to come out also clearly. I don't know if they have lawyers to come out clear and explain this, because lawyers from this other side have properly put it up and said, you only own the logo. You do not own the beret.
All right. So, guys, I want to thank you for that. And to our viewers, I really appreciate all the time you put into to watch us. We have some technical problem in our Facebook. That's why you may be seeing a decline in the numbers. We have just observed it right now. So we are going to make sure that we fix that as soon as possible. There are some people who are not getting us today. So the technical team is working on that so that we can see how we can fix it. You may be asking, we haven't seen this and this and this and this and this. Yeah, that's there is a problem within our system. So I've been informed that the technical team is working on it. So, guys, I want to come back to you. Now, I want to leave this issue of Museveni Chagulanyi thing, feud they have between them. One saying that you are, you're discouraging investors to come in our country. I want to leave that side and then we go to the real issues of Dr. SJ was on one of the local channels back in Uganda, and he came out clear and he said the ballot does not really make a difference. And so he gave out a few strategies that can maybe lead to the transformation that you guys believe in. He talked about awareness and all that. Do you really think that a strategy that Dr. SJ is using or is trying to come up with will help liberate the economy, as you guys say? Sarah, I want to go with you, but then I bring in Richard. Just a few things. Do you think, when Dr. SJ says that the elections, the ballot won't make a change, do you agree with that or not?
So what is going to make a change? Because I think what most Ugandans and majority of them want is the change of guards. People have seen, just like I said, 75% of Ugandans have only seen one president, that's President Museveni. So they want to be able to experience what other countries experience and see. You know, you want to be able to compare notes and say, okay, the other leaders performed this and performed better. And that's why when you look at countries like United States, what it has better than, okay, most of the countries where democracy is not valued and doesn't work, is you have every 8 years you have a new leader coming in, and then you can be able to compare and say, oh, the other leader was better in this and this, or this one has outshined or has performed better in this and this. And it helps because every leader comes in with new energy, new ideas, and it makes it better because, and they try to deliver within the first 4 years, because they have more 4 years they have to deliver, and then someone new comes in as well. What we suffer from in Africa is that we've not had a change of president for the last 33, 34 years. So if you say the ballot is not going to change, in other words, you're giving Museveni a lease to the presidency. You're making him a lifetime president because he's not about to leave power. Even from his interview, you heard him stammering and saying, oh, if the NRM allows, because himself, he should know he's tired. Minus his party, because his party, NRM party, is a rubber stamp for him. They can't say no. You've seen guys within the party that have tried to come and oppose him standing for another term, that have come up and said he shouldn't stand, and you see how much they are stamped on and they're not given room to speak out, or even some arrested. So for Dr. Besigye to come up and say that elections are not the way forward, then what is the way forward? Because President Museveni, if you don't have an election, is going to stay into power. So how do we change guards? Uganda is not a monarchy where you have to wait for one president to die so that you can have another. And we are looking at what is the best way to transition into new leadership when you haven't used the gun. Because when you look at the history of presidents of Uganda, no president has properly gone away through the ballot. It has been fighting guns, and then another president comes on. So if you do not even start advocating, because the right way to democracy would be to advocate for elections and people fairly vote and you have a new president, because if Besigye doesn't see that as an option, then the other option would be is either telling Ugandans to go back to the bush, or he's telling Ugandans, let's give President Museveni, let's wait for him until when we will die, and then we will choose another president. Uganda is not a monarchy. So as an opposition leader, it's so absurd and disappointing to hear such words coming from Dr. Besigye, because he looks like he's an enemy for change. Because these are not the words we want to hear from a leader who has been fighting for the last 20 years. Yes, we may know we believe corruption. We believe there've been a lot of irregularities in elections, but we've not lost all. We've lost some, we've gained some. Look at the member of parliament. If we say, oh, we are not going to vote, are we giving it up to Museveni and his entire team to enjoy, to take off the day? We have to try, and the best way to try and make something sustainable is to try to do it democratically. Let's start. I know there are presidents that have gone down through the ballot. We know that. There are presidents in the world that have gone down, and these are dictators. You saw what happened in Venezuela. That president lost the vote. And I know America put a lot of pressure on him. I've not been following it up very much. I don't know whether he stepped down. But we can still take down Museveni through the vote, even when there are so many irregularities that are happening. So we cannot start opting, and it's so absurd for an opposition leader to start talking of, oh, we have to look for other options. What are the options? All right,
so Richard, I want you to come in this way. Dr. Besigye said that they're meeting actually with the Bobiwine and Bobiwine's team, Dr. Besigye's team and other key players in there. But he also believes that there are some moles within these discussions. Start from there.
No. Let's first go about this thing of Dr. Besigye. He's my friend because we had been working before for many years. So I don't want to comment negative. But he's a good freedom fighter, because the first thing we need to do as Ugandans is to bring down the government of Museveni openly. We are not joking. We are not here to waste our time. So the first thing I want you to tell you that, on the other hand, is right. What Uganda needs is a spark. A katika ability for the fire to start, to liberate the country. Because at the end of the day, the way you see Museveni and Muhoozi talking now about the military, Muhoozi made very good, I don't know if you're going to talk about Muhoozi. He made very, very crucial statement on record that the army is going to come in and crush and kill everyone. We shall talk about that later. That means there's no handing over power peacefully. So what are we going to use? We are going to use people power. That's why we are here. People power is going to liberate the country of Uganda, without even considering going to the bush. I'm going to give you an example. Catalonia in Spain, right now, what is there? Right now, hate, what is there? It's people power. Another country, there's another country that is Hong Kong. It's people power. You can never defeat people power. What these people know, the dictators know, even the communists, that once people power generate the momentum, you can never stop it. Secondly, I'm going to give you another thing. There's something you're not looking at. Maremabiri's right now is going to the East African Court. People thought that Maremabiri's was joking, but now Maremabiri's, there's a hearing of the age limit case, of stopping Museveni, even stopping an election happening in Uganda before the case proceeds. What is going to happen? So what Uganda needs is a crisis that is going to spark on the revolution in Uganda.
Right.
Once the revolution sparks like this, then things are going to start turning. And for me, as a political analyst, I'm going to give you my opinion. Sure. I don't know. I don't want to put it on record because I don't want to explain it in detail. But I think the Ugandan crisis or problem is going to end on the tables of the United Nations. I think so. I'm 100% sure that it's going to end there. So what we need right now is what brings us to that. Is it an election? Is anything has to happen from now to 2021 that is going to change the government of Uganda? But it will go. So
yeah, Sarah, I wanted to add in from where Richard is. Dr. Besigye, you see, I was following Dr. Besigye's statements, and it was very clear. He was very smart, and the statements were open to all of us to think about. Especially you politicians. I don't know whether I need to be a politician today, but so the country is facing the challenges. Within your opposition, there are moles. taking information back to the government that you guys are opposing. Within your position, you yourselves are fighting against each other, and you know that, but you're not coming out with a solution to these problems. Do you think Ugandans are just they're fools that they cannot understand what's going on?
Definitely, Ugandans know what is going on. And one, you can't stop the fact that there are people who are, in any struggle, there are people who are going to benefit from it, from being, they are more or less destabilizers. They'll take information from here to there, and they're being paid for it. So that's how they make a living. But again, it is so absurd that the opposition is fighting when they're not supposed to be fighting. Because at this point in time, 2021 is just 2 years away from, not even 2 years, because the elections happen early 2021. So what is really disturbing me is up to this point in time, you have opposition leaders not even showing a united front. Because also, as we talk of dictatorship in the sitting government, also some of opposition leaders have positioned themselves as opposition dictators, because what they're doing is one feels it should be them to carry the mantle, they cannot leave power, or it is very hard for them to hand over to another opposition person. Just like we've always said that you lose nothing. Just like I've always said, and I'm going to say it again, that Dr. Besigye, for him to hand over the mantle to and clearly say that this is, I've done my time, I think let's handle, because it has clearly been shown that the public, majority of them are resonating with Bobiwine. We would have said, it would have been nice hearing from him saying, you know what, let Bobiwine carry the mantle and the campaign side by side. That's, and this, when you look at, and I always give examples of the things that have been happening where you expected opposition leaders to work together. If you look at the Hoima elections, it clearly shows you that the opposition was not working together. If it worked together, there was no reason why they would have lost that vote. So at the end of the day, yes, we understand and we acknowledge there is bickering in the opposition, but opposition leaders need to man up, need to take responsibility and say, you know what, this is not about us. Because every opposition, there are opposition leaders that are really key that would have played a bigger role in saying, you know what, let's give a mantle to this person. But they also know they don't want to give up. They've become opposition dictators. They feel, when the other person takes it, they've taken it away from me, I would have done it better. So they need to relax. This is not about them. This is over, the last census put Uganda at 40 million people. Right now, because the census is carried every 10 years, you could find maybe about 45 or 50 million people, Ugandans. This is about Ugandans that are failing, because some of these leaders, when need be, when they need treatment, when they need some of these services, they have a chance to travel abroad and get medicine or get treatment from specialized doctors, and they can take holiday. They do not suffer as much as the ordinary Uganda. So at some point in time, I think they need to stop thinking about themselves and think about the 40+ million Ugandans who are denied, who are suffering because of corruption, poor service delivery, who are going through tough conditions than them.
All right. So guys, first of all, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all our viewers for always keeping watching our shows here on Campfire Television. You make us big and we grow together, so we appreciate that. And as Africa, very soon, Zimbabwe at Crossroads will be starting. We will have Namibia at Crossroads. So we'll be discussing now Africa in general, not just Uganda. So we'll have separate shows for you, for Uganda at Crossroads, Zimbabwe at Crossroads, Kenya at Crossroads, Namibia at Crossroads. Then we will have a general show for Africa at Crossroads. So wait, big things are coming up. So guys, I was just taking a small ad to inform the public. And of course, we are receiving comments and complaints that people are not, those who watch us from Facebook are not accessing this information. Our team is still working to fix the problem so that maybe we'll re-air this show within the week for many of our viewers who have missed it. So guys, I want to come back to you. Now let's look at the security issue. The president appears not to be using the IGP, but focusing on his assistant. Where does that leave? Richard, you've been following these stories for quite a long period of time. You've been studying these security issues. What does that tell the public when the president works with the assistant And you never hear him talk about the general or the inspector general of police. Rather, he's always focused on his assistant. What does it mean?
Okay, first of all, let me tell you. You know, I've been talking about these things and the people don't seem to understand because Uganda has been in such a situation for a long time. There are two types of democracies. There's what they call the American democracy, which is called the Western democracy.
Right.
And there's what they call the Eastern democracy, which is China, which is North Korea, which is Russia, which is the Soviet Union, all these people that use these democracies.
Right.
In a country like Uganda, where we use socialism, who controls, the first thing they do is security in power, to make sure that they entrench themselves in power. They take all the institutions of police, of the army, of everything into their own party
Right.
and leadership. If you don't follow their mandate, if you cannot be of their own, they cannot allow. That's why they have these national political commissars. Kasanji is a national political commissar. Is in the police, but his job is to teach the ideology to the police of Uganda so that they work for the party of the president and the regime of the president. So these are the two things. That's why Museveni has the authority to appoint someone from the army. General Katumba Wamala was appointed from the army. Kale Kaihura was appointed from the army. DC Sabiti was appointed by the army. The country is militarized. Everything is the military. This Okosokora or Chola is just a show to clean up the figure, because where Kale Kaihura had left the police was in such a bad shape and bad image even to the international world. So it brings in Sabiti and then promotes the other, but it's Sabiti running the show. So what are people going to do in Uganda? How can we take these things out of the country forever? Is changing the constitution. The American constitution, if you look at it very well, the police belongs to the federal state. Right. The power to put police and control police belongs to the governor of a state. Trump does not have an authority to control the police of America. These are the things that people power is going to do as soon as possible, to take away the power of the people, say the police, and give it back to the people. So that these institutions like the police are not used against the people of the country to terrorize them. Because right now, if you don't follow their protocol in police, you don't have a job. If you don't beat, you see what happened recently.
Right.
For this guy, the police, Enanga. What is Enanga doing? He's in court. You know what he did? He terrorized his own people to steal land from them. But he's the spokesperson from the what? For the regime, for the police. And now they let him steal land from their own people, somewhere miles and miles of acres and acres of land. Because he's a working person for the government, they let him go away with such a...
But you know, talking about that, I think I'll bring in Sarah, but I would like you to first finish up. Maybe Enang is being attacked by the mafias within the government, because when you look at the dots, everyone who comes out to speak, from Emilian, Enanga, Kawesi, then the other guy, Chirumira, and the others, those who are strong, the strong faces of police. Something like that happens. At the end of the day, they are killed.
No.
What does that mean?
No, you don't understand. You work for us to suppress the majority. We let you benefit from our country. That's how it works. Nsimure kizigo. That's how it works. Enanga is carrying out, lying openly on behalf of the president, cleaning the image. Then they let him, he has to share on the loot. That's what is happening.
All right, so we have few minutes to finish up the show, but let me go down into the street again to you, Sarah. What do you see when the president comes out to disagree with the Inspector General of Police, and he focuses on the assistant. And recently the president set a directive that all criminals should be handled by police. And of course, what we saw was not the Inspector General of Police, but rather his assistant coming out to give a press conference. What does that tell you?
But his assistant comes from the army, right? President Museveni, just like we've said, he wants to militarize the entire police system. And you see, the good thing is that he's dealing with very smart Ugandans who are not stupid, who can say things even from afar. He chose an assistant who is from the army to be the assistant of the police office.
What's the project?
Yes. So I think they are preparing themselves to 2021. They have what they have basically done is to militarize the police and make it more macho and make it more, because the police is supposed to keep law and order, but now they've been engaged in activities of killing. When you see something, for example, at Makerere University today, Joel was part of the rally there. Right. What was the military police red top doing there? That was supposed to be, if it was meant to keep law and order, it would have been just the normal police being around. So military police in red caps, what are they doing there? These are students. Why are you bringing, because military, they are trained to kill. Why are you putting people who are trained to kill among students who are just having a rally? They are not harmful, they don't have guns, they don't have anything. So I think very soon you'll end up having all what you call the police militarized and products of the army. And I think this is one way of Museveni trying to prepare himself for 2021. Yes, but but Ugandans have seen through it, and they know exactly his plan and what his intentions are. So for him not to disrespect the inspector of police and entirely rely on his assistant, first of all, he's a Mohozi project. Right. So basically, I know definitely that's why he keeps running. He keeps running to the Assistant Commissioner of Police, and maybe he does things much faster and better. He does all his illegal business in a better, faster way.
All right. So, guys, I want to thank you. We're gonna close the show.
Yeah, but
so, Richard, your final statement and.
Yeah, what I was telling people is this: in the coming days or in the next coming month, I think Honorable Chagwen is going to come in this country. You people try as much as possible, be part of the Ugandan community discussions. What is so important for the Ugandans at this stage is to make what they call a white paper. What type of Uganda do you like to be in the future, and what you are going to leave for your children forever? Right. These things are not, don't let them, Honorable Chagwen, bring them to you. We want the people to participate and come up with the blueprint. It comes from the white paper. The system of government, the police, like we have just given you an example, the military to be picked up from the military police and then be brought to the current police. What type of country would you like? You have to come out with a paper that show to the world that we people, this is the type of the system of government, economic, political, and all these things that we want. We want you to be part of these discussions, to vote, to raise up your hand, and be part of this thing. Is so important. That's what is going to bring the regime as of now. Be part of these things. Don't just sit in your houses. Don't just sit in your workplaces, at least. And then contribute the money. These people need the money on the ground. Right. Yes, we have to fundraise. We have to look at the corporate America. We have to look for everywhere. We are going to look for the money so that the revolution on the ground is moving. All These right. are the so much important things that I want to tell the people.
Sorry, Fanatek?
I want to thank Ugandans for people, despite everything that goes on daily in Uganda. Ugandans are resilient. I saw the other day, I think Kampala flooded, but you could see even Ugandans within those floods, they are still pushing. It is really tough in Uganda. There is a lot of theft. It has happened in my own family. And theft is happening in broad daylight. People are coming and cutting down their windows and getting into the houses. So the situation is there and really appalling. But Ugandans keep pushing, and we are asking you kindly keep on pushing. And also the Ugandans in the diaspora. That's why, just like you mentioned, Honorable Bobiwine will be here next month. We expect all Ugandans in the diaspora to come out in huge numbers. And just like we always say that your contribution to the cause is one, it is you participating, and because you determine a lot. Everyone in the diaspora, you have people back in Uganda, and you determine a lot on how they vote, because entirely, most times they depend on you for financial aid and services in so many ways. So you can influence votes in one way or another, because if I'm paying your school fees, your children's school fees, don't tell me you're supporting Museveni, I will stop. So, and at the same time, the remittances that go to Uganda, you know, we help family and all that. And also the diaspora, you know, your contribution to the struggle would be financially, and the effort and the energy you put in. So we expect all of you. At this time, he's going to be here. He will come in earlier, and you'll see him, because we've been asked, oh, he did not come up. He's going to be here. He's going to be in Boston, and I will communicate the venue and everything as soon as everything is being confirmed. But he's going to be here, and he wants to speak to Ugandans living in Boston, and he wants to get your ideas, your suggestions as we move forward into 2021.
All right, so guys, I want to thank you. To our viewers, I want to thank you so much for always watching Uganda'S Crossroads, and always, you know, being part of us. Today, we have had issues here for people who watch us via Facebook. We've had issues that the majority have not received a notification, even when they share. The information does not go out there. So we are working. The technical team is working so hard. Probably next Saturday we will be back as normal. So there's some issues going on. You can also vividly see. So we understand all that, but we are working towards fixing that. But we want to thank you so much for watching Uganda'S Crossroads, watching Campfire Television, and all our shows. Like I said earlier within the show, there are 6 more other shows coming, focusing on the different countries within Africa. And of course, there will be one general one that will be bringing all of us together to discuss the issues of Africa. So we want to thank you so much for always watching Uganda'S Crossroads. Coming up next, Love, Sex and Money. Now, I always leave one statement before I leave the show that I call my close take. Every year, every time, every single day, people will talk about politics. We live politics, we eat politics. But the most important part is when you sit down and work. Go make money. Poor people have no say in the community. Rich people are always respected by politicians. Have a good week. Thank you.